The night never ended on the planet Noctira. Its sky stayed dark, painted with slow red clouds and distant cold stars. Tall black towers rose from the ground like sharp teeth. This was the home of the alien vampires, a powerful race feared across many systems. Inside the tallest tower, on a throne made of dark crystal, sat Queen Phyrexia. Once, she was the strongest ruler in the sector. Her eyes used to glow bright crimson. Her presence alone could make armies kneel. But now, her fingers trembled slightly as she rested them on the arm of her throne. Her breathing was slow. Pain hid behind her calm face. The reason was simple and deadly. They were running out of blood. Not just any blood. The vampires of Noctira survived on life energy blood, a rare substance taken from living beings with strong souls. For centuries, their empire expanded and fed easily. But the galaxy had changed. Worlds were empty. Species were extinct. Trade routes were broken. Now, even a queen could feel thirst. Phyrexia closed her eyes for a moment. A sharp ache spread through her chest. She hated weakness more than enemies. Around her stood the high court generals, scientists and nobles, all silent, all afraid. One of the elders stepped forward. His voice shook. "Your Majesty, our reserves will last only a few cycles." A low murmur spread through the hall. Phyrexia opened her eyes slowly. "Then find another source." "We have searched," the elder replied. "There is only one species left with unusual blood." The queen's gaze hardened. "Speak, humans." The word echoed like a curse. Humans were strange. Fragile bodies. Short lives. No fangs. No natural armor. Yet everywhere they went, they survived. Worse, rumors followed them, stories of humans enduring pain, adapting to horrors, and growing stronger through suffering. Some said human blood was poison. Others said it was power. Phyrexia leaned back. "Bring me proof." Before the elder could answer, the massive doors of the throne hall opened with a heavy sound. 2 armored guards entered, dragging a single figure between them. A human. He was tall but unarmed. His clothes were simple, marked by long travel. His hands were free. His face showed no fear, only quiet focus. The court erupted in noise. A human here? Kill him. He dares walk into Noctira. The guards pushed him forward and forced him to his knees. "Name," Phyrexia commanded. "Ethan Cross," the human said calmly. No trembling. No begging. The queen studied him carefully. His heartbeat was steady. His eyes were clear. This was not a prisoner caught by chance. "Why are you here?" she asked. Ethan lifted his head. "I came by choice." The court laughed. "No human chooses this place," a general said. "You will be drained dry." Ethan looked around the dark hall, then back at the queen. "I know." That caught her attention. "You know what we are," Phyrexia said. "Yet you came anyway." "Yes," Ethan replied. "Because you are dying." Silence fell. The queen stood up slowly. Her shadow stretched long across the floor. "Careful, human." Ethan took a breath. "Your empire is starving. Your people are weak. You can hide it, but I can see it." The generals reached for their weapons. "Enough," Phyrexia said. She walked down from her throne until she stood before him. The thirst inside her reacted instantly. His life energy felt different, strong, warm. Why? She asked softly. Why would a human walk into the mouth of monsters? Ethan met her gaze. Because humans believe in something you forgot. And what is that? Choice. He slowly raised his right hand. Before anyone could stop him, Ethan pulled a small blade from his sleeve and made a clean cut across his wrist. Dark red blood flowed freely. The scent hit the hall like fire. Several vampires gasped. One collapsed to his knees. The thirst roared inside Virexia's mind, louder than ever before. Ethan did not flinch. He held his bleeding wrist out toward the queen. "This is my gift," he said. "Not taken, given." The court froze in shock, got no chains. No force. No screams. Only a human offering his blood freely. Virexia stared at the open wrist, at the steady human eyes behind it. Her hand trembled as she reached forward. The moment her fingers touched his skin, a strange feeling surged through her: warmth, strength, and something else she had not felt in centuries. Hope. And somewhere deep inside the human, something ancient and powerful stirred. The story had begun. If you enjoy powerful human stories like this, gently consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps bring more epic HFY sci-fi tales to life. Queen Virexia's fingers hovered above the human's bleeding wrist. The thirst inside her screamed, louder than pain, louder than pride. The court held its breath. No one spoke. No one moved. And she drank. The moment Ethan's blood touched her lips, the hall seemed to disappear. Power rushed through her like a storm. Her weak muscles tightened. Her cold veins burned with warmth. The constant ache in her chest vanished as if it had never existed. Her crimson eyes flared brighter than they had in centuries. But it was not just strength. She saw images. Green fields under a blue sky. A burning city. Humans standing together against impossible odds. Pain, loss, love, sacrifice. She felt emotions that were not hers: fear, mixed with courage, despair followed by stubborn hope. Virexia pulled back suddenly, gasping. The court exploded into chaos. She drank human blood. She lives. Impossible. The queen straightened slowly. Her posture was firm again. Her presence filled the room like thunder. Every vampire felt it. Silence returned with a single raised hand. Ethan swayed slightly, but he did not fall. Blood still dripped from his wrist. One of the guards moved to restrain him, but Virexia stopped them. "Do not touch him." She looked down at the human. "You should be dead." Ethan smiled weakly. Humans are hard to kill. That made several nobles hiss in anger. Virexia turned away and walked back to her throne. Each step felt lighter, stronger. She sat, eyes locked on the human. "What did you give me?" she asked. "Hope," Ethan said. "And proof. Proof of what?" "That humans are not food." A general stepped forward, his armor sharp and red. "Your Majesty, this is dangerous. Human blood is unstable. It could poison us." Virexia raised one finger. "I feel no poison." Another elder spoke, voice low and greedy. "Or it could make us stronger than ever." That thought spread fast. Virexia felt it, the shift in the room. Hunger mixed with ambition. She did not like it. She looked back at Ethan. "You knew this would happen." "Yes," he said. It is why I came alone." The queen studied him carefully. "No, not as prey, not as enemy, as something new. You offered your blood freely," she said. "Why?" Ethan lowered his arm. The wound began to close slowly, as if his body refused to stay broken. "Because forced blood changes nothing. Given blood changes everything." The scientists whispered among themselves. One stepped forward with a scanner, bowing deeply. "Your Majesty, permission to analyze the human." Ethan nodded before she could answer. "Go ahead." The scanner hummed softly as it passed over him. The scientist's eyes widened. "Incredible," he whispered. "His cells are adapting in real time. His blood carries." "Memory? Memory?" Virexia asked. "Yes, emotional memory. Survival memory." The elder turned pale. "That is Forbidden's biology." Ethan spoke calmly. "Humans remember pain. That is how we grow. The court did not like that answer. The general who had spoken earlier leaned close to the queen. Your Majesty, this human is dangerous. Today he gives blood. Tomorrow his kind may demand power. Phyrexia did not answer at once. She felt strong. More than strong. Awake. But she also felt something she had not expected: respect. Human, she said, you came to a dying empire and saved its queen. I did not save you, Ethan replied. You chose to drink. That answer stayed with her. She turned to the guards. Prepare a chamber for our guest. He will not be harmed. The word guest sent shockwaves through the hall. A guest? The general protested. He is a resource. Phyrexia's eyes flashed dangerously. He is under my protection. Reluctantly, the guards escorted Ethan away. As he walked, many eyes followed him, some fearful, some curious, some hungry. When the doors closed, the court erupted again. This changes everything. We could feed for centuries. We could rule again. Phyrexia stood. No, she said coldly. We will not become monsters again. Her words surprised even herself. Later, alone in the dark chamber, Ethan sat on a stone seat. His wrist was fully healed now. He looked calm, but his mind was racing. He knew he had crossed a line. Far above, hidden behind walls of crystal, Queen Phyrexia stared at her reflection. Her strength was back, but her thoughts were troubled. Human blood had healed her. Body-human choice had shaken her empire. And somewhere deep in Noctira, plans were already forming, plans that did not involve mercy. The bold gesture had worked, but its true cost had yet to be paid. The chamber where Ethan stayed was silent and cold, carved deep into the black stone of Noctira's tower. Red crystal lights glowed softly on the walls. It was not a prison, but it felt like one. Ethan sat calmly, his hands resting on his knees. Outside the door, guards stood alert, not to protect themselves from him, but to protect him from others. Far above, in the highest research hall of the Empire, Queen Phyrexia watched as alien scientists worked around glowing machines. Thin streams of human blood floated inside clear energy tubes. Her blood, Ethan's blood. Begin, the Queen ordered. The lead scientist adjusted the controls. The machines hummed louder. Symbols flashed across wide crystal screens. At first, everything seemed normal. Then alarms began to sound. The scientists froze. What is it? Phyrexia asked sharply. The lead scientist swallowed. Your Majesty, the blood is changing. Explain. It is reacting to our scans. It is not passive. It adapts. One of the younger researchers stepped back in fear. It is learning. The Queen narrowed her eyes. Blood does not learn. This does, the scientist replied. Every time we apply pressure, heat, energy, darkness, it adjusts. It remembers the threat. Phyrexia felt a strange chill. Show me, she said. The scientist increased the energy field. The blood darkened, then stabilized. He increased it again. The blood shifted once more, glowing faintly. It grows stronger with stress. He whispered. Another scientist spoke, voice shaking with awe. This blood is not made for comfort. It is made for survival. Phyrexia remembered the visions she had seen while drinking. Pain, war, humans standing even when broken. So this is why humans endure, she murmured. Yes, the scientist said. Their blood carries emotional memory, fear, loss, courage. It feeds the body and the will. A dangerous silence filled the room. One of the elders smiled slowly. Then we do not need to conquer planets anymore. Phyrexia turned to him. What do you mean? We only need humans, the elder said. If one human can restore you, imagine what thousands could do for the Empire. Several generals nodded in agreement. Phyrexia felt anger rise. He came willingly, and that makes him valuable, the general replied. But his species may not all be so generous. The queen slammed her hand down. The room shook. We will not become slavers. The elder bowed slightly, but his eyes remained cold. Empires survive by power, not kindness. Phyrexia said nothing more, but doubt crept into her mind. Later that cycle, Phyrexia visited Ethan's chamber alone. The guard stepped aside as she entered. Ethan stood when he saw her. "You look stronger." "I am," she replied. "Because of you." She studied him closely. "Do you know what makes your blood different?" Ethan nodded. "We are born weak, so we learn fast." "That is not an answer," she said. "It is the only one that matters," Ethan replied. "Humans suffer early. We fall, we fail, but we remember, and memory changes us." Phyrexia walked slowly around him. "My people avoid pain. We consume it from others. And that is why you are afraid of losing it," Ethan said gently. Her eyes narrowed. "Careful, human. I do not mean insult," he said. "I mean truth." She stopped in front of him. "My court wants more of your blood." Ethan did not look surprised. "I expected that. They want your kind," she continued. "Not as allies." Ethan met her gaze. "And what do you want?" The question hung between them. "I want my people to live," Phyrexia said finally. "So do I," Ethan replied. Silence followed. Then Ethan spoke again. "You felt it, didn't you?" "Felt what?" "When you drank my blood?" "The emotions." Phyrexia said nothing. "That is the danger," Ethan continued. "Human blood does not just feed hunger. It changes the heart. Some will crave that feeling. Others will fear it. You believe this will divide my empire," she said. "I believe it already has," Ethan replied. At that moment, far below the tower, shadows moved in hidden chambers. Alien generals met without the queen. Their voices were low and sharp. "The human is too dangerous," one said, "or too valuable," another replied. "We should not wait for the queen to choose." A dark plan took shape. Back in his chamber, Ethan felt a sudden cold run through him. He did not know why, but instinct warned him. Human instincts had kept his species alive for a long time. High above, Queen Phyrexia stared out at the endless dark sky of Noctira. For the first time in centuries, her empire was strong again, and for the first time, it stood on the edge of something far more dangerous than hunger. Change. The sky above Noctira glowed deep red, as if the planet itself sensed danger. Dark clouds moved slowly, hiding the distant stars. Inside the black towers, whispers traveled faster than light. Whispers of betrayal in a hidden chamber far from the queen's throne. 3 alien generals stood around a floating map of the empire. Their armor was sharp, dark, and stained with old victories. "The queen is changing," one general said coldly. "She hesitates," another replied. "That makes her weak." "The human has poisoned her judgment," the third added. The map shifted, showing the human's chamber. "We cannot wait," the first general said. "If human blood is the key to survival, then we must control it." "And the human?" the second asked. A cruel smile formed. "He will be secured, for the good of the empire." High above, unaware of the meeting, Queen Phyrexia stood on her balcony, looking out over the endless night. The strength in her body was real, but her thoughts were heavy. She had built her empire on fear. Now one human had shown her another way. "Your Majesty," a guard said behind her, "the council requests your presence in the lower halls." Phyrexia turned. "Now?" "Yes, urgent." She nodded and followed. That was all the generals needed. In the human's chamber, Ethan sat quietly, eyes closed. He had learned long ago how to wait. On Earth, patience was survival. The door opened suddenly. More guards than usual entered. Their movements were stiff. Wrong. Ethan stood slowly. Is something wrong? By order of the High Council, one guard said, avoiding his eyes. You will come with us. Ethan's instincts screamed. Where is the Queen? He asked. Not required, the guard replied. That was answer enough. Before Ethan could react, energy restraints snapped around his wrists and chest. Pain shot through his body as his muscles locked. He fell to his knees. So this is your choice, Ethan muttered. The guards dragged him through dark corridors. Far below the towers, into a deep underground chamber. The air was cold and heavy. A prison. The restraints tightened as he was thrown into a containment field. The door sealed with a sharp hiss. Moments later, the generals entered. You should feel honored, human, one said. Your blood will save our people. Ethan pushed himself to his feet. By force? Force is the language of survival, the general replied. Ethan shook his head. Then you learned nothing. The general ignored him. You will give your blood. Again and again. And when my people find out? Ethan asked calmly. The generals laughed. No one will know, one said. This empire does not need humans. It needs fuel. Far above, Queen Virexia entered the lower halls. The council stood waiting. Something felt wrong. Where is the human? She asked suddenly. The elders exchanged glances. He is. Being secured, one replied carefully. Virexia's eyes flared. Secured how? For his own safety, another said. The queen turned and left without another word. She moved fast, her footsteps echoing through the tower. Guards tried to stop her, but one look from her sent them away. When she reached Ethan's chamber, it was empty. The scent of human blood still hung in the air. Rage burned through her. She felt it clearly now. Betrayal. Deep underground. Ethan sat against the cold wall of the containment field. Pain pulsed through his body. But his mind stayed clear. He had expected this. Humans always did. Slowly, with great effort. He pressed his thumb against a small implant hidden under his skin near his neck. It activated. On a distant world called Earth. A signal awakened systems that had been sleeping for a long time. In space. Far beyond Noctira, human ships changed course. Back in the prison, a general watched Ethan carefully. What did you just do? Ethan looked up, eyes steady despite the pain. I asked my people not to come, he said. The general laughed. And now? Now, Ethan replied softly. I stopped asking. High above, Queen Virexia stood alone in the dark hall. Her hands shaking with fury. This was no longer about hunger. This was about choice. And someone had chosen wrong. The stars above Noctira began to change. At first, no one noticed. The night sky had always been dark and heavy. But then the long-range sensors started to scream. Multiple contacts. Unknown. Vessels. Fast. Silent. Precise. In the command halls of the alien empire. Officers rushed between glowing screens. They are not pirate ships, one analyst said. Their formation is too clean. Military? Another asked. No, the analyst replied slowly. Something else. Above the planet, space itself seemed to bend. One by one, massive human ships slipped out of light. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They waited. Deep underground. Ethan felt it before he heard it. The low vibration in the walls. The pressure shift in the air. Humans had arrived. A general stormed into the prison chamber. What did you do, human? Ethan raised his head with effort. I trusted my people. The general struck the containment field in anger. We will drain you before they act. Energy blades activated. Before they could move, the lights flickered. Across the empire, Systems failed, then restarted under new control. Human control dot in the central command hall. Queen Virexia stood frozen as screens filled with human symbols. A calm human voice echoed through the chamber. This is a peaceful arrival. The court erupted in panic. Shields. Prepare weapons. They are taking our systems. Virexia raised her hand. Stop, the voice continued. We detected a distress signal from one of our own. We are here to retrieve him. No attack is intended. An image formed in the air. A human woman in simple command uniform. Her eyes were calm. Her posture relaxed. I am Commander Lyra Hall, she said. We wish to speak. Virexia studied the image. There was no fear in the human's face. No hunger for power. Release the human, Lyra said. And we will leave. The general stepped forward angrily. Your Majesty, this is a threat. No, Virexia replied slowly. It is a promise. She turned. Where is he? Silence answered her. That was enough. Deep underground, the prison doors exploded outward not from outside, but from within. The containment field collapsed as human override codes sliced through alien security. Ethan fell forward, catching himself on shaking legs. Human soldiers entered. Weapons lowered. We've got you, one said. Ethan looked up. No killing, he whispered. The soldier nodded. Above. Queen Virexia watched as the human fleet remained perfectly still. Not one weapon charged. Not one missile armed. They had power. They chose restraint. Ethan was brought before the queen. His face was pale, but his eyes were clear. You came, Virexia said quietly. They always do, Ethan replied. The generals shouted in fury. This is weakness. They will rule us. Commander Hale's voice echoed again. We do not want your empire. She gestured, and new images appeared. Human technology. We can create synthetic life energy, Hale said. No suffering. No blood taken. The court fell silent. This can feed your people, Hale continued. Without slaves. Without chains. Virexia felt something break inside her. All her life. Survival meant domination. Now, humans offered survival without cruelty. The generals stepped back in fear. This changes everything, one whispered. Virexia straightened. And we change, she said. She turned to the court. Anyone who stands against this will stand against me. The generals hesitated. Then one drew his weapon. Before he could act, lower-ranked soldiers moved, first placing weapons on the floor. They had seen the human fleet dock. They had seen the choice. The general dropped his blade. The empire did not fall. It shifted. Outside, the human ships remained silent guardians. Ethan stood beside the queen. Unarmed, exhausted, alive. You could have destroyed. U.S., Virexia said. Yes, Ethan replied. But that's not who we are. The sky above Noctira remained red, but for the first time, it did not feel like blood, that it felt like dawn. The empire of Noctira stood on the edge of war. Alien ships powered their weapons. Defense towers tracked human vessels in orbit. One mistake could turn the sky into fire, but no shot was fired. Queen Virexia stood in the central command hall, her voice steady but firm. Stand down, she ordered. Some commanders obeyed at once. Others hesitated, hands shaking over controls. One of the rebel generals stepped forward. His eyes burned with pride and fear. Your Majesty, this is our moment. Humans are strong, but we are not helpless. Strike now. Virexia turned to face him. And lose everything we have just gained? We gain power through blood, the general replied. That is who we are. That is who we were, she said. The general laughed harshly. You speak like a human. The words cut deeper than any blade. Behind them, Ethan stood quietly, supported by two human medics. He said nothing. This was not his choice to make. The general pointed at him. This creature weakened you. Phyrexia stepped forward, her presence filling the hall. No, he showed me strength without chains. The general's hand dropped to his weapon. Then I challenge you. Gasps filled the hall. A trial of rule, the general declared. Old law. Silence followed. Phyrexia closed her eyes briefly. Old laws had built the empire. Old laws had also broken it. I accept, she said. The dual circle activated, dark energy rising from the floor. The general entered, weapon ready. Phyrexia stepped in unarmed. You will die, the general hissed. Maybe, she replied calmly, but not empty. The duel began. The general struck fast, fueled by rage. Phyrexia moved with calm precision. She did not overpower him. She waited. The human blood within her did something strange. It remembered. Pain from centuries of rule. Loss of her people. Fear of extinction. She used that memory. When the general charged again, she stepped aside and redirected his force. He stumbled. She struck once clean, controlled, final. The general collapsed. Dead silence filled the hall. Phyrexia looked around. Anyone else? No one moved. The rebellion ended without a battle. Across the empire, orders spread quickly. Weapons powered down. Shields lowered. Human ships remained in place, still silent. Commander Hale's image appeared again. Conflict has ceased? Yes, Phyrexia replied. Because we chose it to. Hale nodded. Then we will assist. Human engineers and alien scientists began working together. Synthetic life energy systems activated. The first vampires drank not blood, but light-filled energy. They did not weaken. They grew stable. For the first time, children of Noctira slept without hunger. Ethan watched quietly as the empire changed around him. You saved us, Phyrexia said to him later. No, Ethan replied. You saved yourselves. She studied him. Your people are dangerous. Yes, he agreed. To fear, to cruelty, to old empires. A rare smile touched her lips. Above Noctira. The human fleet finally moved, but not away. They repositioned. Guardians? Not conquerors. The galaxy watched in silence as a feared vampire empire. Transformed without war. Legends would say a great battle was expected. History would record something. Stranger. The war never happened. Because one human opened his wrist. And one queen opened her. Mind. Years passed. The planet Noctira no longer lived only in darkness. Red clouds still crossed its sky, but now lights shone from its cities, steady, calm, alive. The black towers remained, yet they no longer felt like prisons. They felt like homes. Across the galaxy, travelers spoke of a miracle. The vampire empire that once fed on fear had changed without being conquered. No worlds burned. No species vanished. It was called the quiet turning. At the heart of it all stood Queen Phyrexia. She was still powerful, still feared by those who remembered the old days. But she ruled differently now. Hunger no longer controlled her people. Synthetic life energy flowed through the empire, created with human knowledge and alien mastery. Children were born who never knew thirst. Ethan Cross stood on a high balcony beside the queen, looking out over the city. His hair showed a few lines of silver now. Humans aged quickly compared to vampires. You could have left long ago, Phyrexia said. I did, Ethan replied softly. I just came back. She nodded. Humans always did that, leave, then return by choice. Your name is spoken everywhere, she said. Some call you a hero. Others call you a danger. Ethan smiled faintly. Both are fair. Far away in human space, schools taught the story differently. Not as a victory, but as a lesson. Power is not only what you take, it is what you refuse to take. On Noctira, a young vampire child listened as an elder told a story. Once, the elder said, a human came to our world. He was unarmed. He was afraid, but he stood anyway. The child's eyes widened. Why didn't he run? Because humans do not run from choice, the elder replied, in the grand hall. Queen Virexia addressed a gathering of many species vampires, humans, and others once afraid to stand together. We were taught that survival demands domination, she said. We were wrong. She raised her hand. A human showed us that the strongest gesture is not a weapon, but an open hand. Her eyes moved to Ethan, and sometimes, she added, an open wrist. Silence followed. In respect, Ethan felt the weight of it all. He had not come to change history. He had only come to help one dying queen. But humans had a habit of changing things by accident. Later, alone, Virexia stood before an old mirror. She remembered the day she drank human blood. The hunger, the visions, the fear of becoming something new. She touched her chest. The hunger never returned, not because she was fed, but because she had learned restraint. Above Noctira, ships of many kinds traveled freely. The vampire empire became a bridge instead of a wall. And across the galaxy, the legend spread, not of a war, not of a conquest, but of a moment when a human stood before monsters and trusted them, a moment when monsters chose not to be monsters. The story was told in many ways, but it always ended the same. Humans were feared, not because their blood was powerful, but because they could offer it freely, and in doing so, they changed everything.